Hello and welcome to the Well Played Podcast, and thank you for joining us. I am Warren Curtis, and today we are going to do a special episode celebrating the summer of gaming. This is our very first mini episode. All this week, we are doing special coverage as we discuss the showcases, developer directs, and other programming coming out of the Summer Game Fest and other events that are happening this week and a little bit next week. Today kicks off the first episode of this series, so let me give you a quick rundown of what's happening. Today is Wednesday, June 7th, and we are doing this show. It's a mini. It's to talk about what happened news-wise kind of so far at the beginning of this week. That'll help lighten up the later episodes for coverage of the content that's happening that day. As well as we're going to cover the Guerrilla Collective, which happened earlier today as well. Tomorrow, we're going big. We have a live show starting at 3 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, where we co-stream the Summer Game Fest show from YouTube Theater live in LA. And following that, we have a recap mini show. We're going to kind of recap the Summer Game Fest that happened. And we're also going to be talking about the Day of the Devs event, which is happening after that, and the Devolver Digital Direct, which is always a fun show, and that's happening a little later in the evening. So we're going to do a recap show afterwards that will cover all those things, as well as go live. So 2 shows tomorrow. Friday, we're going to do our weekly show. Amanda will be here, and we're going to talk about all the news and gaming stuff as usual. We'll have a bit more of an emphasis on what we've been playing. I think that's a good thing to be talking about there. You know, our content that we've been playing at in our own time and doing that kind of thing. And we're also going to recap the Tribeca Games Spotlight that happened during the day. It'll be a little bit of a lighter mix with that, so we'll just work that into our regular show. We're also going to be talking about our predictions for the Xbox Showcase on Friday, so that's really good. On Saturday, let me just scroll the page up here because there's a lot going on. On Saturday, we have another recap mini pod like this one, where we're going to talk about what happened at the Wholesome Direct, the OTK Games Expo, and the Future Games Showcase. Future Games Publishing, not Future Games as in Minority Report Seeing the Future. And then Sunday, we have another big day where we're going to be going live at 1 p.m. Eastern to co-stream the Xbox Showcase and Starfield Direct on YouTube Live. And a little later, we're going to do another recap mini episode where we review what happened at that showcase, as well as the PC gaming show that happens a little bit later on in the day. And then Monday, we're going to be doing a mini pod to recap the Capcom Direct. Recap Capcom Direct. Each episode's going to likely talk about additional things that have happened if, you know, something newsworthy kind of happens along the way. And we'll also work that obviously into the weekly episode and go a little deeper in that. That's where that belongs. But, you know, something big happens, we'll be talking about it, obviously. All episodes, including our live episodes, are going to be available to watch on YouTube. Our mini pods will also be available in audio format on the podcast RSS feeds like normal episodes. The live episodes, we're not going to be doing the RSS audio only because we're talking over, essentially. That's what's going to be happening, is I'm going to be talking over the live events and, you know, ooh, that's neat, or that's cool, or I bet you that's this game, that kind of stuff, right? The full schedule is available on Twitter. It's pinned to the top of my Twitter account at Amarin Studios. So AMARREN Studios on Twitter. Make sure you follow us on that. You'll get all of our schedule live updates. You'll get notifications when we go live there. You'll get links to our RSS feeds. Everything gets put through Twitter. Come join us, chat live while we're going to do this. We're going to be having lots of fun. With all that said, let's get into it and talk about what's happened so far this week. Apple had a little event, the Worldwide Developer Conference that they do every year, earlier this week, and they announced several things, such as the MacBook Air 15-inch. It's using the M2 tech, Mac Studio, and Mac Pro. But none of that is what anybody is talking about. Everybody's talking about the Apple Vision Pro, a VR headset. It's capable of augmented reality and mixed reality systems as well, so it's a see-through headset. It can be used for everything from, you know, the most exciting things that Apple could come up with, like spreadsheets and meetings, as well as games and augmented reality experiences. So they were showing them playing games on the Apple Arcade and things like that. It launches in 2024 in the US. I'm assuming that's going to be a worldwide launch softer after that. It features twin 4K displays that that support HDR. Um, these retina burning goggles with 4K HDR headset attached to your face use eye tracking technology to navigate the interface. Um, that's not really anything new. The PSVR 2 headset does that. But yeah, okay. There's no buttons because I think there's one button on it, probably on this side actually. Because that's Apple's thing. Let's give them one button to do everything. Yet again, none of that is really what everybody's talking about. No, everybody's glossing over the fact that all the tech in this is existing tech primarily. It's just the first time it's been packaged, I guess, all in one spot, which is interesting. Everybody's talking about the price tag, which is $3,499 US dollars. That comes out to about $4,700 in Canadian money. That ain't cheap, and that's actually the most expensive VR or AR hardware available. So there you go. Let's take a look at what we could get for $4,700. I'm just going to grab my phone here quick. 4,700 Canadian dollars. I'm going to go onto our marketplace called Kijiji. And I'm going to set a maximum. I'm going to go into cars here. And I'm going to set a maximum of $4,700. So I don't know if you guys can see that. Probably not easily. $4,700, you can get a 2010 Dodge Charger, a 2006 Honda CB600F certified motorbike, a gas club car golf cart, a Sea-Doo jet ski. It's not jet ski, that's Kawasaki. That's a different thing. It's a Sea-Doo. A 2006 Triumph Bonneville motorbike, which is a really nice cafe racer style bike. A 2002, or sorry, no, that's wrong. A 2022 Yamaha TTR 230, which is a four-stroke kind of mixed purpose bike. I don't think you can get a road kit on the 230, but it's kind of an enduro bike. A 16-foot aluminum StarCraft boat with trailer. A 2004 Suzuki Bandit 1200, that's a big bike. A 16-foot fishing boat with 30 horsepower motor and aluminum trailer. A horse trailer. A Lincoln Navigator. A 35-foot Flagstaff camper trailer. 2013 Dodge Avenger. Yeah. Or you could get a set of scuba gear goggles that go on your face. The point isn't really the price. Diehards are going to line up for this. It's Apple. That's what they do. What the real point of this whole thing is devs are going to be buying it. And they're going to make content for it for the Apple Arcade and all that. And then a new revised model is going to ship like 1 or 2 years after this thing launches. So in like 2025, probably holiday 2025, or 2026, after they get the feedback from the devs and they get their costs down because they're revising the chipset, and they're probably going to make it on a, introductory. I think it was a 7 nanometer. It's probably going to go down to a 5 nanometer as Apple migrates chipsets, things like that. It's going to be way more affordable down the road. It's still going to top the chart as far as price. It's probably going to be priced more in the Valve Index, which I think is the be-all and end-all of VR headsets. But it's Apple, so they're going to do that, and they're going to get away with it because they're Apple. But this $3,500 American dollars is way too high. I would say it's about $2,000 too high, to be honest. In a real world, yeah, I would say $1,500 American would be fair for that. But knowing Apple's Apple, they would probably go for $2,000 American. So $1,500 is probably the over price aspect on that. And it's weird because Google already tried this. I'm kind of diverting here, but Google already tried this with the Google Glass. You remember those glasses? They were just slightly thicker up top, and they had like a little tiny camera here and here, and they projected images onto your glasses, but they also saw what you were looking at. So they could be like, hey, dude, you want to go to this subway. Here's a line to follow on the road in front of you, so you can just walk down the sidewalk and go down the stairs into the subway. or it would give you weather updates, or if you got a text message, you could read it without looking down, so you wouldn't, walk in front of traffic. And they looked really handy, and I thought, hey, this is cool. These things might actually take off, and in 10 or 15 years, this might be the norm instead of cell phones. But everybody was like, oh, you're going to look like an idiot wearing that, so they don't wear them. And yet these things are glorified scuba gear goggles. Like, go Google a picture of it. It's silly. um so anyways, that's the Apple event that happened. I don't normally cover Apple things, but because it did have a VR headset in it, I decided to touch on it. If they get a little bit more heavier into their game development stuff, I might start talking about them more. But right now, they don't even know what they're doing with game development. They don't understand it. They just know how to monetize their store. So that's all they're really doing. Moving on, last week I talked a bit about how Microsoft's president, Brad Smith, was meeting this week with some UK officials. At the time, I mistakenly said it was the Prime Minister that he was meeting with. I was reading a tweet from my phone. It was a breaking story that was happening as we were recording. So it was kind of a bad angle. I was trying not to, look at my phone. So I'm not making excuses. I read Prime Minister's office and construed that as Prime Minister, but he was meeting with Brad Smith. Actually met with the United Kingdom Finance Minister. There we go, Jeremy Hunt, to talk about the ABK merger. So I apologize about getting that wrong in the heat of the moment. It's my bad. I'll try not to do that again. I'll try not to do breaking news while I'm recording. Anyhow, next bit here. According to Foss Patents on Twitter, who's an expert in regulatory processes all around the world, he's represented many corporations on regulatory things and patent law as well. And that's what he consults in on a day-to-day basis. But because of patents and regulatory processes are very intertwined, he's a go-to for this. Smith and Hunt met to discuss the $69 billion Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard King, amid reports that Microsoft is considering closing the deal ahead of the appeal case that is pending in United Kingdom courts. Microsoft last week had a preliminary hearing in which Activision and the CMA, the United Kingdom's merger watchdog, presented their arguments to a judge in regard to when the appeal trial can take place. Basically, this whole preliminary hearing last week was one of, I believe, 3 judges that'll be sitting on this council that'll be making a decision on this. He basically sat there and said, okay, so when can we have this trial date start? And Microsoft is saying we could start now, like as soon as you're ready. The CMA on the other end saying, no, we need more time to get ready, which is weird. And I'll talk a little bit about why that's weird. But essentially, Microsoft's goal is twofold. First goal here is towards the end of July, there is their deadline in their contract to buy Activision Blizzard King will approach, in which they could face a $3 billion penalty for missing. That could be negotiated away, and I'm sure Activision's on board with negotiating that away and setting a different date down the road. But they would still like to get it done ahead of that time, and so the pressure's on for that. The second part of that is CAT, which is the tribunal, the appeals tribunal. I'm not sure what that stands for. I'm going to assume the Crown Appeals Tribunal, but it could be something completely different. So correct me if I'm wrong there. They go on holiday or recess, right? Like government bodies do for August. So they won't be hearing any cases. So that wouldn't even get started until after August if this didn't get done beforehand. But if it's done beforehand, those members won't go on break until it's done. So at least then they could get into the first or second week of July and get it done. And then, get the trial started and then get it done maybe, hopefully into the first week of August, which would be much better to release a decision by then. The other thing that I think that is ironic about this, that I did say it was weird before, is the CMA saying that it's not enough time to prepare their arguments for an appeal. They issued a document that was over 400 pages long about why they don't think this merger should be allowed and why they were denying it. That's their evidence. They shouldn't need any more evidence. They had all the time in the world to present that case. So if that case is solid enough and you're not ready to prepare that in a court of law, then you've just made your case for the opposition. You just made Microsoft's case for them. You're just making shit up as far as I think everybody else is concerned. Bear in mind, this whole thing stems from their belief that cloud gaming is going to be something, which it's not. It's a gimmick at best. Um, the infrastructure is not really there worldwide to support it. The desire isn't really there to support it, and it's kind of a niche aspect of the gaming market. I look at cloud gaming as going, hey, I can try this thing out before I download it and see if it's worth my time. But if I got to pay up front for it, I'm not doing it. Right? Why would I pay up front for a cloud game and my network's unstable or it just runs like garbage because it's not optimized? Things like that. Like I'm not going to pay for something up front like that when I have a computer sitting right here that cost me $4,000 that could do all that in a bag of chips, right? Or an Xbox sitting on my living room, or my PlayStation sitting in my living room that could do all this stuff, right? So I'm not going to rely on cloud gaming for it, but cloud gaming replacing Blockbuster kind of makes a bit of a bit sense to me. So, anyways, there's that. Microsoft is very eager, to close this deal. They're reportedly finding a way to close it without the UK appeal process actually happening first. This could take the form in many ways, one of which is removing any Activision content from the United Kingdom market, at least temporarily. However, Microsoft can't make that decision. Activision has to make that decision. Otherwise, they're colluding, and it doesn't really work that way. However, I think both parties would be interested in achieving some sort of goal there with that. That's just one of the ways they could do it. They could Microsoft could pull out of the UK altogether as well, at least temporarily for all this and wait appeal. The other thing is they could just close it and pay any fines. Like they could wind up paying maybe $20-30 million in fines. Nothing criminal, just like your breach of contract kind of fines. And as long as there's nothing criminal involved in it, they're just regulatory fines. Microsoft would gladly pay $20-30 million if it means they're going to be making a couple $100 million or even $1 billion. The United Kingdom market for Microsoft is worth about $750 million annually right now. So you can kind of do the math there, right? Activision Blizzard King will bump that up quite a bit because of Call of Duty and Candy Crush. Let's not forget, this is not about Call of Duty. This is about Candy Crush. This is about King. Microsoft so desperately wants that mobile gaming powerhouse, basically, that is King Studios underneath them. They want to roll that into a new storefront that's going to be competing against Apple and Android on their own phones, because the European Union has ruled that they have to open up all their phones so you can load apps from whatever store you want. So that is kind of really what's at play here. And I think that is far more valuable to Microsoft than the market for 6 to 8 months while they sort it out, or any fines that they could face, really. Microsoft's also battling the FTC in the United States, although it's a kind of a different process in the United States. There's a hearing scheduled for November because the FTC sued Microsoft to prevent the acquisition. However, suing Microsoft to prevent the acquisition isn't really the proper way to go about it. If they didn't want the acquisition to go through, they had until like 2 weeks ago to issue what's called an injunction to stop the acquisition. And that date's passed. So going forward, the only way they can stop it is by asking a judge to issue a temporary injunction based off of the evidence that they can provide at that moment in time. The judge is going to be very reluctant to stop a multi-billion-dollar corporation like Microsoft in their tracks at a moment's notice. So I don't see that happening. They may issue a temporary injunction for like 2 or 3 days to get all the parties involved to go, hey, what the heck's going on here? And have a mini hearing and kind of issue a ruling. The judges that can do that are actual judges. They're not judges that are part of the FTC court system, which is the other issue, is the FTC sued Microsoft in FTC court. So an FTC judge is going to be ruling on an FTC case against Microsoft. It's kind of a kangaroo court setup. Microsoft is probably going to argue that they have a constitutional right to a fair trial and a bunch of things are getting impeded as far as their constitutional rights go, and they'll probably get into a regular court, but that will still take time. At the end of the day, they'll just be willing to deal with any remedies and situations that happen down the road. So I still think it's worthwhile for them to explore the options of closing this ahead of time if this judge doesn't decide to move forward with the case sooner rather than later. I believe the next hearing for this is in a week or so, so we'll see what happens. The deal's been approved in nearly 40 other countries, representing a considerable portion of the global population. You've got, Korea and China have approved it. The European Union as a whole, so all those countries in Europe have approved it. I believe the only countries really that haven't issued a decision one way or the other is like New Zealand and Canada. Now, Canada had until last week to issue a decision. Otherwise, the decision's yes. That's how our system works. They didn't issue a decision, so the decision is yes. Now they can be like, we don't like the decision. These are the reasons why. But, our court system's fairly weak when it comes to things like this. So their time to use their power is gone. If they were going to use it, they would have used it. And New Zealand is very much the same kind of court setup. So, they've issued a notice that they're extending their decision, I believe, for another couple weeks. I think their decision's the week before the deal is slated to close is their decision time frame. So we're still waiting on that. The only other real outlier still is South Africa, which has said, the Competition Bureau in South Africa has said they want to approve the deal. So now the court has to take that and go, yes, we are approving the deal, or no, we're not. And that date's set for another couple weeks yet. So they will probably approve the deal because the court always does what the Competition Bureau says in South Africa. It's just, that's how it works. That's how the system's supposed to work. So, this kind of makes the CMA and the FTC, although two of the bigger regulatory bodies in the world, they're still kind of outliers in this decision. And they're both utilizing this cloud aspect as a reason to get rid of the deal altogether. And cloud being such a small part of Microsoft's business, like cloud gaming being such a small part of Microsoft's business, I don't think they give a hoot if they have to squash it or what. But they've made deals everywhere with every competitor. I don't understand how that isn't being taken into consideration. So they're definitely kind of showcasing themselves, the CMA and FTC, as kind of activist bodies here. So it's a little different and kind of weird. And this is, the FTC has made some big bad decisions, especially when it relates to like Facebook and stuff recently, where they've allowed things to go through that shouldn't have gone through. And this is them trying to claw that power back. And I think they basically said, whatever the next big merger is in tech, we're just going to axe it and fight it into the courts and set an example to everybody else. And then, of course, it's Microsoft doing the biggest acquisition in entertainment history of $69 billion of Activision. And, they couldn't make a real case for it because that's the other thing is this is kind of vertical integration, right? Activision is going into a piece of the puzzle that already exists for Microsoft. It's getting integrated into a business system that there is. They're not expanding their footprint necessarily, a little bit, but what they're doing is they're beefing up their capability internally, and that's really what this is. It's kind of like when Disney bought Fox. Fox had to sell off or whatever. They had to divest, like ESPN and the news side, because of Disney's ownership of, Fox Sports and Fox News side had to get divested separately from the entertainment business because of Disney's ownership of ESPN and like ABC News and stuff like that. They had kind of a market cornering there. However, they were allowed to absorb all the studios and all the talent that makes the entertainment side of Fox. And that's because Disney already has all these things, and they only have the one pipe to put it through to get it out, which is Disney or Disney Plus. So like two pipes, theater or streaming. There's only still those two avenues. They were allowed to absorb Hulu into that. So, right, and that's a vertical integration versus a horizontal integration, and that's what is at stake here with Activision Blizzard. It is a vertical integration. By and large, they're looking at that mobile aspect. That's a little bit more horizontal for them, but also Microsoft has no presence in the mobile marketplace at all. So like Microsoft entering mobile is not really a big deal when you have companies like Google and Amazon and Apple dominating those marketplaces. We're definitely going to be watching this story closely. I believe something's going to happen with it sooner rather than later because of this deadline approaching. So we're going to be paying attention to it. I will try not to get as deep into it because I can get a little nerdy when it comes to that kind of stuff, and I get that. So we'll try to keep it very layman and simple, but it is a very interesting story with so many different dynamics. I really like. It is interesting. I am a little bit tired of reading about it though, so maybe it'd be nice if they could just close the deal and we can get something else. Alrighty. Sorry about that. I had to take a drink. Next story. The Day Before got a release date and trailer this week. Again. This game, which some believe isn't real, I'm not entirely sure if it's real or not. We'll talk a bit about that more in a second, but some believe it's not real. It's been delisted from Steam. It dropped a trailer featuring a lookalike Lamborghini speeding along streets in a lookalike New York. It's a confusing trailer because it's post-apocalyptic game. It's weird. Anyways, but yeah, it's a confusing trailer for a confusing game, and it got another release date of November 10th, 2023. We'll see if it lands on that. I imagine it's going to miss it again for some reason or another. There was a huge trademark dispute about the game. Apparently, they never even trademarked the name The Day Before until like 6 weeks before it was supposed to launch last October. And they were like, oh, we got to delay the game because we don't own the trademark. Well, if that was the case, how come it's getting delayed until November now? If you got the trademark and that was the only roadblock, how come it's taking? Like, I don't think it's real. I think they're going to try to soak up pre-orders and run away with the money or something. There was another game that kind of did that before. Blue Box did it. Had something to do with the forest or something. It was a PlayStation game, and it wasn't made by PlayStation or whatever. It was made by this studio called Blue Box, which never made a game before, never existed before. And they're like, we're going to do this game, and some people thought it kind of had Silent Hill look to it, and that the Silent Hill look to it and the way the trailer was cut together, people thought Kojima was involved, and the studio kind of leaned into that. And then Kojima was like, the fuck I am. I have never even heard of these guys. And the studio was like, yeah, sorry, that's our bad. We were just, playing around with the community. And then nothing. They were supposed to release the game, and then it moved back to a playable demo was going to come out for PS5. And then that didn't happen, and now we got nothing. Like, I haven't heard boo bugger all from them in 2 years. I don't think we ever will. Wish I could remember what it was called now, but Blue Box Interactive was the name of the studio that made it. I can remember that. This has that kind of vibe to it. They did release what they called a gameplay trailer last summer, I think, for it. Right around this time, right around the E3 Summer Game Fest target. And it felt an awful lot like a Unreal Engine tech demo. Like, and by that I mean, I went to the Unreal Engine marketplace and I downloaded assets, maybe the $50 ones, but more than likely the free ones for the month. And I dropped it into a generic city, with the generic buildings and the generic art and the generic settings, right? And did an over-the-shoulder gameplay, so it kind of looked a little Last of Us-y, and put all these generic things together and played a game. There was no user interface at all in the game. So by that I mean, in their little demo, I didn't see a ammunition counter or a health meter or a map or a compass or anything to dictate an objective or waypoint. Anything that tells you how to play the game or what you're doing. Now, some games that stuff fades away, but when you do things like reload your weapons, you usually get a counter that would say this is how many bullets you have left, because you don't know what you've picked up and you don't know what you've used, right? So, some games will do it, as I say, they'll hide it and they'll be like, they won't tell you how many bullets are left in the chamber or in the magazine, but they'll tell you what you have in total. So, you have 60 bullets, but you don't know how many of you've pulled the trigger on. That's okay. Your weapon holds 10, so you've pulled the trigger 10 times. You can do the math, right? And it makes you do that kind of thing. That's survival horror, but this is different. It didn't have that, and I don't think it had that because they didn't know how to make it or they didn't have it made yet. And if they didn't have basic elements of UI in place for something that is supposedly going through playtesting, the playtesting wouldn't be going well because people would be getting frustrated with it. So either they don't know how to make a game or it's not really a game, both of which scare me. Though that's my opinion of it. I know I share that opinion with quite a lot of other people. Um, I would love to be proved wrong. I would love to see this game actually be a thing, but we'll see, right? Yeah. Stranger things have happened, right? We had one of the best studios in the world release Cyberpunk 2077, where you had dicks flopping out of people's clothes and stuff. So this is nothing. Um, Nothing surprises me anymore. On to the next story, and a much better story. Diablo 4 came out this week. It is Blizzard's fastest launch on Xbox ever, that's a pretty cool title to get. Players have accumulated over 93 million. I'm making sure I'm reading that right. 93 million hours of playtime since the game went into early access for pre-order customers. Last Friday, it went up. So that is over 10,000 years of playtime accumulated in 5 days from the day it went into early access to the day they released that stat. That's pretty cool. Diablo 4 has been incredibly popular with a lot of people I've been talking with. A lot of diehard Diablo fans and fans of that genre as a whole, I think, are really enjoying it. So I'm really happy for them. To get back out there and be playing it again and doing this. When was Diablo 3? 2011, I think. So this is pretty big news for them. And I'm happy for them, and I'm happy that it's landing good. I know there's a bunch of balances and stuff like that going, and Blizzard's working on that kind of constantly, but this is good to see Blizzard kind of land on their feet again after so many misses with Overwatch and World of Warcraft and things like that. To finally land on their feet again with especially a big IP like Diablo. I think that's really cool because it's a beloved IP. So, good on them. Looks good. You all have been busy playing that. 10,000 years. 10,000 years. Nuts. Nintendo did a Nintendo thing this week, and they tweeted out a Pikmin 4 trailer that showcases character creation. The game comes out July 21st, so this is just kind of a what to expect in the game kind of thing. It does look good. If you slept on Pikmin ever, like if you've never played a Pikmin, I don't think you're going to need to play any of them before Pikmin 4 to understand Pikmin 4. But do yourself a favor, don't go to 1 or 2. You don't need to do that. Pikmin 3 Deluxe is on Switch. Grab it, play it. It's fun. You'll enjoy it. Give it a shot. And you'll know right away if it's not your bag, right? But, if you... It's a fun little game. It's so hard to describe, really. It's such a fun little game, though. And I'm excited for it to be coming out, and it comes out in a month and like a week. So, pretty good time. Back to Microsoft again. They have been fined $20 million by the Federal Trade Commission for illegally collecting the information of children on Xbox, which sounds pretty greasy. But the issue, which was fixed by Microsoft in 2021, was actually a result of a technical glitch where information doesn't matter if it's for children or not. People are required, when you're creating an account, you're required to enter in like a phone number and other personal information. And it wasn't deleted from their servers if the sign-up process was abandoned. So if you were like doing it and then you were like, no, and you just close the window or whatever, or shut off the Xbox and you boot it back up later, right? that information was never deleted from their side, even if you started it again. And it was just a glitch. It was just something they were like, "Oh, this is happening," and but because children were being, especially the children under the age of 13, could be creating these accounts. In a lot of cases, some of them were under the age of 13. They're not supposed to hold on to that information, and they were unintentionally because it was a glitch in their system, but they were nonetheless. They fully went, "Yeah, we did that. We fixed it. That's our bad. 20 million bucks." Um, it's a nothing burger, but because of Microsoft and the FTC and their back and forth, I thought it was worthwhile talking about this and how Microsoft does handle getting fined and things like that. When they're in the wrong, they admit it. It's what they've been doing for quite some time. And yeah, companies make mistakes. A couple months ago, Epic Games was charged with something very similar for what was it? Dark Patterns, I think, was involved in the story, but they actually used deceptive marketing means on children to get them to buy like passes and stuff for Fortnite, and confusing button presses. So if you had to press A to accept something before, and B to cancel it, they would switch it on the last step. So you would press B to approve it and A to cancel it. So if you wanted to back out, you'd accidentally buy it if you're just going off of like intuition. And they were charged hundreds of millions of dollars for that. And they've reportedly fixed that. And that was Epic, right? Makers of Fortnite, the Unreal Engine, all sorts of things. And so, it's just a kind of a pattern. The FTC is going out and going after tech companies. They're going after children, which I think is a great thing, whether it's intentionally or not as well. I think it's also good. And these companies need to be on their toes and make sure they have systems in place to protect kids. And above all else, that is, I think, the important part of the whole thing they're doing. And second last story here, or second last news article here, is Starfield has a new limited edition controller and headset. It keeps on popping up in stores, and we're seeing it on Twitter. This hasn't been confirmed by either Xbox or Bethesda. However, multiple images from multiple sources show the stylized gear and have appeared in numerous stores, including Target in the US. Not on the shelves, some cases it's been on the shelves. But they're not available for sale, reportedly yet, until June 12th. So that tells me that they're probably going to announce this on Sunday at the showcase, and they'll be available the next day for sale. The controller is probably one of the coolest looking limited edition controllers I have seen in years. Not going to lie, it looks pretty boss. The headset, I could take it or leave it, but that controller is pretty slick. We'll have to wait and see if that is actually it. I don't know. Well, actually, the last limited edition controller I bought was also an Xbox One. I bought the Forza Horizon 5 limited edition controller, which was it was kind of like a rainbow color, not rainbow, but like it was yellow and pink and kind of translucent. You could see through it. Really cool looking controller, and it had a cool vibe on it. That Starfield one, I think it's so crisp, and it has all these lines on it. Like it has a line going to each button, right, and each toggle and your thumbsticks and all that, with little descriptors on it, and it kind of makes me think of like a spaceship flight control, which I believe is exactly what they're trying to mimic, right? This is that, that's this is, So I think it's kind of cool, and it would be even cooler if what they wrote on it matches up with what those things do, like in the game. So that would be kind of really neat. How do I fly this thing? Or whatever it is, right? Kind of stoked for Starfield. I've been amping myself up for it without even seeing I haven't seen anything new. Like, we're going to have this direct on Sunday. After the Xbox showcase, they're going to do a Starfield direct. So I'm assuming about 20 or 30 minutes maybe of just Starfield coverage, which I'm so stoked for. Anyways, yeah, I could talk about games coming out like that forever, especially a game like Starfield. And our last story here we have is today it was the Guerrilla Collective show. It's an annual event showcasing upcoming indie games. I didn't really have time to watch the show today. I'm going to admit that. I was in radiation and then come home dinner and then this. So I only have a kind of a rundown of what was at the show. I have watched some of the trailers, kind of ones that looked interesting to me. I'm just going to read these off my phone quick. Maybe one day I'm going to get a spot, like a website or a Discord or something, and we'll put all the stuff kind of in one spot. But today is not that day. Where did I put it here? All right, alrighty, so we have. I'm just going to say these off really quick and what platforms they're coming to and the date, if applicable. We have Terra Memoria. Oh, and I want to apologize if I do say any of these off because some of them are hard to pronounce names or something like that. So I do want to apologize for that in advance, especially if it's as part of a beloved series that I haven't heard of or something. Terra Memoria coming to Xbox Series, consoles, PS5, Nintendo Switch, and PC coming soon. There's no date. Sengoku Dynasty coming to PC in Q2, so first half of 2023. So they've got a couple weeks to figure that one out, I guess. Forgotlings, it could be their fiscal quarter, so we'll see. Forgotlings coming to Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, PC 2024. I don't know if it's coming to all Xbox and all PS, like PS4 and 5, or an Xbox One and Xbox Series S and X, or both, or one or the other. I don't know. Evolutus Duality is coming to PC, no date. Europa, PC 2023. Light Odyssey, PC 2023. Abyssus, PC, no date. A Tiny Sticker Tale coming to Switch and PC with no date. Sorry, I accidentally closed it. Dwarf Delve, PC, no date. Remnant 2, Xbox Series, PS5, PC, summer of 2023. That one I've been watching a little bit of. Iron Meat, PC, October 2023. I looked that one up just because the name was funny. Hammer Watch 2, Xbox, PS, Nintendo Switch. Whoop. I did it again, guys. Hammer Watch 2, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, PC coming soon. Annalyn, Nintendo Switch. It's already on PC. No date given though. Super Space Club. Also look this one up because it kind of sounds fun. Xbox PC on August 4th. The date came from Steam, so I don't know if the Xbox date is the same. I'm assuming. Toxic Crusaders, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, PC in 2024. 30XX, Nintendo Switch, PC, Q3 of 2023. Lexington, PC, 2024. Anton Blast, Nintendo Switch and PC with no date. Serum, PC, no date. Sparky Marky Online, PC, no date. World of Horror, PlayStation, Switch, and PC on October 19th. Pneumata, PC with no date. Battle Shapers, PC, summer 2023. And Deadlink, PC, July 27th. Blood West, PC, December 23rd, or 2023. Demon School, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC in 2023. Questmaster, PC 2023. PC, no date. Sacrifier, PC and consoles, no date given for that. Bonnie Odyssey, PC, no date. Dark Deity 2, PC, no date. WrestleQuest, coming to Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, PC, and Netflix on August 8th. It looks to be like a if you ever played Soccer Story Soccer Story was one. Sports Story was another. There was a skateboard one. I don't think it was called a Skate Story. There's a skateboard one last year. It's like a wrestling RPG. If you can imagine that. So, anyways, yeah, WrestleQuest, and it's on Netflix as well. So if you have Netflix, keep an eye out for that because you go to the tab, go to gaming, and you can play that on your phone. Griffith Academy, PC, mobile, no date. Toads of the Bayou, PC in 2024. Arcseed, PC, no date. Crashlands 2, PC and Netflix 2023. Deck of Souls, PC, Q2 2023. Yomi 2, PC in early access June 27th. Growth on the Switch and PC, no date. Novalance, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC, June 22nd. Jump Light Odyssey, PC, no date. Dawn Duality, PC, no date. I'm going to screw up this one. Corponation. Okay, that's close enough. PC, no date. Kingdom 80s, Summer of Greed. PC on June 26th, coming to consoles later. That one actually kind of looks fun. Sticky Business, PC, Summer 23. Super Adventure Hand is coming to PC in 2023. A Corgi's Cozy Hike, PC, no date. Lake Season's Greetings DLC is coming to Xbox, PlayStation, PC this holiday. And Pizza Possum is coming to Xbox Series, PS5, Nintendo Switch, and PC 2023. Nountown coming to PC in summer 2023. Consoles are later. Ollie Frog Toad Skater PC in Q4 of 2023. Little Guardsman. Sorry. Little Guardsman, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, PC 2023. By Sweet Carol, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, and PC 2024. Avoid Hope, Switch and PC, no date. Death Trick Double Blind, sounds like a really wicked skateboarding move. Death Trick Double Blind, PC, no date. 3 minutes to 8, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, and PC in Q4 of 2023. Nivalis, PC and no date. Heart Abyss, PC, no date. Promenade, PC and consoles in 2023. Nocturnal, Xbox Series, PS5, Nintendo Switch, and PC. It is out now. It got shadow dropped. Corrupt, it's spelled wrong. It's spelled Coreupt. So kind of erupt, corrupt. Not sure what that is. Anyways, I didn't watch this trailer, but it's coming to PC and no date. Crypt Custodian PC 2024. Gory Cuddly Carnage. Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, and PC in 2023. Grim Tinge of Terror DLC. It's coming to Xbox, PC, and PlayStation. It's out now, actually. Another shadow drop. And Dawn of the Monsters AE, consoles and PC soon. So there's a little bit from after that I'm going to talk about as well. I'm just going to breeze through, but that is the end of the Guerrilla Collective. There was also a publisher spotlight that happened as well. Freedom Games did a bit. There was somebody else in there too. I just wanted to scroll down and see that. Hype Train did some. There isn't really a whole lot of things that anybody's heard of, and there's over 90 more titles to go through, so I am probably not going to read all these. Yeah, 93 unique games. So, Spider Hack. New update coming to Spider Hack. It's coming to Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, and PC this summer. So that's cool. Spider Hack was a popular one. Hello Neighbor, Search and Rescue, PlayStation VR 2 and PC VR. It's out now. Far World Pioneers, Xbox and PC. I believe it's on Game Pass. It's out now. I believe it's on Game Pass. Punch Club 2, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, PC, 2023. Outbreak Island on PC in 2023. That was kind of like a survival zombie thing. But survival in the sense of like Ark is a survival game where you got to gather resources and stuff like that. It's kind of neat looking anyways. Yeah, I think that might be it. Those are the big ones. There's a fair bit of farming games and stuff like that in that. Indie games are kind of, a lot of them tend to go that way lately. So anyways, lots of games, 93 games. That's pretty impressive. We've got a lot going on this week, so you know, I'm going to be a little bit more involved with what's happening going forward. As today was the only day where my radiation appointment kind of coincided with what's going on. So everything else should be pretty smooth. Say maybe I'll get a Discord or something together to kind of put all this stuff in one spot. But for now, Twitter's the spot. I will actually retweet that list because Knoble put it all together, and which is Knoble is one of the best users I think on Twitter for if you just need quick at a glance gaming news. His name's KNOEBELBROET. So you can find him. I want to give him a shout out because he's been doing so much of the heavy lifting on Twitter for putting all these announcements and news stories every single day, all year round, all in one spot. The guy went on vacation to Japan for like 4 weeks. I believe he's from Germany. And he went on vacation to Japan, and he still covered this stuff. The guy just works way too hard. So, kudos to him and thanks to him. I'll retweet that on Twitter. So that's a good spot to find that list. If any titles pique your interest, there's a link to absolutely every single YouTube trailer on there for it. And that's pretty cool that he's done that. Say I would like to put a spot together for that to all be there. I'd say it's probably wind up being a Discord at first and evolve a little bit as I go, but I don't know if I have the energy or the time to be doing that right now. This is kind of soaking up a lot of that energy that I do get, which isn't quite a lot. So anyways, that being said, tomorrow's Summer Game Fest. So I'm really excited for that. It's like Christmas for guys like me that love gaming and love the excitement and the announcements and all that kind of go with it. The kickoff is 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, Eastern time. Join us live if you can. You can ring the bell here on YouTube. There's also upcoming videos in our live section, and you can set the reminder just for the video itself. I have put tomorrow's live show and Sunday's live show. I've already set up the streams for them, so you can just set a reminder for them. The live shows are YouTube exclusives, so they're not going to be showing up in audio format or on Spotify. The only way you can catch it is on YouTube. It's going to be archived, so you can watch it later if that appeals to you at all. After the Summer Game Fest, there's Day of the Devs and the Devolver Direct. I always love the Devolver Direct. It's one of the best shows I think that gets done. They put so much effort and time and energy into it. It's so cool. We're not covering those live, but I'm going to do another show tomorrow that's after everything's wrapped up. And we're going to recap it and talk about it. And we're going to go a little deeper into each thing. And that'll go to YouTube and our audio RSS feeds as well as to Spotify for both audio and video. So everything's going to be everywhere for that show. The live stream's a little bit different, but anyways, that's that. Let me know in the comments or on Twitter or wherever you can find me. My DMs are open. If you have any input or suggestions or comments about the show, I would absolutely love to hear some feedback. Thank you to everyone who's been liking and subscribing and following me on various social medias. I really appreciate that. It's so much, so rewarding to see people do that I don't know personally. So that's such a huge thing. I love to see anybody like it, especially people that I like personally. But when you don't know anybody or don't know a specific person and they're all of a sudden following you on YouTube, that's a pretty cool thing, right? So I just want to thank everybody for that. We are running in our mid 30s right now for YouTube gaming, or sorry, not YouTube, for Apple podcast to do with gaming. So that's pretty good. It's a pretty crowded market, and we're in our 30s, in the 30s for content on that. So that's pretty good. Anyways, that about wraps it up. I have been Warren Curtis. You guys have been great. Thank you so much for joining me, and we will see you live at 3 p.m. tomorrow. Thank you very much, and you have yourselves a wonderful evening.